Welcome back to another episode of ROC Boys Football, taking a look at another 2023 NFL mock draft for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, before we even get into it again, I just want to say thank you to you guys, especially the Eagles fans. A ton of feedback, a ton of comments on our last mock draft we ran about a couple weeks ago. That's why we make these videos. We love talking ball with you guys in the comment section, learning from you guys, kind of getting a feel for how you want this team to look in 2023, positions to address. So again, we appreciate all the support for real. And if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll definitely be running back another mock draft for the Philadelphia Eagles once free agency shakes out. But this is a very fun team to take a look at. You rarely see teams have 2 first-round picks in this complete of a roster. The Eagles have a ton of capability to just continue to build such a complete roster. And Howie Roseman has done a phenomenal job building this roster. You take a look at this 10th overall pick, a lot of different spots you could go. Devon Witherspoon sitting there available at number 10. Christian Gonzalez is my cornerback 1, but if you wanted to argue that Devon Witherspoon was the guy to take at pick 10, I would not argue with you. You take a look at what he did in coverage, a 25.3 passer rating, a 35.5 completion percentage. The only question mark I have with Witherspoon's game is playing in that Big Ten West. We're not really tested by those elite receivers, but you're getting a cornerback who is locked down in man coverage, and you have some question marks about who's going to be back in that secondary. Last time we went with Brian Branch, and I certainly wouldn't hate that pick, but getting an outside cornerback as complete and as dominant as a dude like Devon Witherspoon is, I think is kind of a lock here. And again, this cornerback class is so deep, but you're able to get a guy who you feel comfortable starting year 1 in Witherspoon. I think you have to make that pick. Good position value, good position of need as well. The fit seems to be perfect for the Eagles. That pick makes a lot of sense. And then at 30, I think you're going a lot of different places. Man, Nolan Smith has been a guy that I have absolutely loved throughout the draft process. Now, the 2 big concerns you have with Nolan Smith as a prospect, right? One, he's undersized, 6'3", 235-pound edge rusher. How can you hold up against the run? But when you watch the film of Nolan Smith, he's one of the best edge defenders against the run in this whole class. And then you take a look at what he did. Now, the production is not necessarily there on paper, and that's a big knock against him. He only played 8 games in 2022, and the production, he was good. The film is phenomenal. The stat production, not as good, but when you get into his film, a 25.5 pass rush run rate, you saw the combine testing at 4.39 at the combine with a 1.52 split. Like, this dude teleports off the line of scrimmage, and then the intangibles come in. And like what Philly has done with their locker room and culture has been so impressive. Nolan Smith is the guy. You think about all the top prospects that have come out of Georgia on the defensive side of the ball. Nolan Smith was the leader. When this dude talked, people listened. So not only are you getting a prospect that, in my mind, is significantly undervalued in this draft, you're also getting a guy who's going to come in, be a leader. You pair him up with Jordan Davis, who you got last year. I think that makes a lot of sense. Let's go get Nolan Smith on that defensive line. And you can do a lot of different things with him. I think he's best standing up, but can put his hand in the dirt, get after the passer. But again, just so impressive against the run. This dude plays extremely hard. I think that pick would make a lot of sense for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, picking at 62, this is kind of where you get into what kind of holes in this roster do we kind of feel the need to kind of fill in. Taking a look at some of the best available players. Luke, I like a lot of centers in this class, but I'm a believer in Cam Jurgens. I mean, Jason Kelsey's been phenomenal for years, but Cam Jurgens is kind of my guy. I think he's going to be phenomenal at the next level. So I think you're kind of open to go address some other positions. Running back is a spot that I think you want to address, right? I don't know if bringing back Miles Sanders is worth it. Kenny Gainwell is not necessarily a running back that you feel comfortable giving the rock to 20, 22 times a game. I think he's good. I think he can tote the rock, but I think you want to get another running back in there with some fresh legs. And my favorite running back on the board, either Tank Bigsby or Zach Charbonnet. Zach Charbonnet runs the ball extremely hard. You look at the frame, 6'1", 220 pounds, thick lower half. And that's kind of what I'm going with. He is a bell cow. He took a lot of carries for UCLA, obviously transferring over from Michigan, but this dude is big. And know what I think he added to his game the last couple of years of college? He comes back and he's kind of a linear athlete. That was at least kind of how I pegged him last year, which I thought he should have left last year. Kind of just a one cut, get your foot in the ground and get upfield. I thought he added a little shake to the next level that I think will help him in the NFL. kind of rounded out him as a complete prospect. But Zach Charbonnet makes a lot of sense. And I think you're going to save some money. You got some other positions that you want to address in free agency. I liked Miles Sanders. I had him on my fantasy team, but I don't necessarily know if he's a key piece to be considered bringing back when you can go get a running back in this class that is just so deep. And I love me some Zach Charbonnet. I think he's one of the best running backs in this class, and he's a former Michigan Wolverine, obviously transferred to UCLA. 3 more picks available. You could address that wide receiver position. I don't think it's a need, but there are some wide receivers. I mean, Tank Dell sitting here. Carl Brooks is another guy. We got Carl Brooks last time in this draft. I think that would make a lot of sense. Tank Dell, Devonta Smith and Tank Dell can like combine weighing as much as like Jalen Hurts, which is absolutely insane. I don't know if you want that. I think I'd prefer a little bit more of a Michael Wilson kind of frame. And Michael Wilson is absolutely phenomenal. The biggest question mark you have with Michael Wilson is you see the games. 4 games in 2020, 5 in 2021, 6 in 2022. He's been struggling with injuries. He goes down to the Senior Bowl, though, and absolutely dominates. What I love most about Michael Wilson is not only the size, which is rare in this wide receiver class. This wide receiver class is kind of full with slot receivers. There's not as many wide receivers that you feel comfortable playing out on the boundary. Michael Wilson is one of those dudes, and if he can stay healthy, he is going to be very good at the next level. 6'2", 210 pounds, very smooth off the line of scrimmage, and that's why I'm so confident that his game is going to translate to the next level, because what wide receivers are winning at the next level in the NFL? The wide receivers that get the position and run clean routes. Michael Wilson is that guy. He's not a freak burner. He's not necessarily the biggest wide receiver, although he's got a good frame, but he's so smooth off the line of scrimmage, creates separation quickly in his route tree. I think that makes the most sense for the Philadelphia Eagles. At pick 94, you get nice value and a position that you want to get some more depth to. Like, you like AJ Brown, you like Devontae Smith, but you want to add a little bit more depth. I think Michael Wilson will allow you to do that, kind of frees you up with how you want to use Devonta Smith within that offense as well. And then you're off for a while. 220, 249 coming up. Looking at some of the positions, you might want to address. I think you could get another. Carl Brooks would have been a nice pick there, because I don't know if you're getting a guy like Vernon Hargreaves back. You want to address that interior defensive line. We'll see what's available at pick 220. The covers might be a little bit bare there. Again, this team is really complete. I kind of went with Michael Wilson because I love Michael Wilson. He's one of my favorite players. Bryce Ford Wheaton's a guy from West Virginia that I think a lot of teams should be taking a look at too if he's there. Eric Gray would have been a nice pick. If we waited on Zach Charbonnet and got Eric Gray, I think that would have made a lot of sense too. Taking a look at who's available. DJ Dale on the inside. DJ Dale's very underrated. He's not going to be an all-pro, but he's going to be a damn solid interior defensive lineman that you can rotate in. And that might need to be the pick. I think it is the pick. Let's go back up to DJ Dale here. You can't go wrong going with the Alabama products. But again, he's not going to wow you with anything crazy, but he's very good. You see PFF graded him out pretty high. The film is solid, but when you can get a solid dude early round 7 who's going to be a rotational piece on that interior defensive line, I think that makes a lot of sense. And again, with Big Daddy Jordan Davis, you got to give him a blow. You got to give him some breaks. Go get a guy like DJ Dale that when Jordan Davis and some of those other interior defensive linemen need to take a step off the field, you go fill him in with DJ Dale. I think that pick would make a lot of sense. It's kind of eating your vegetable pick. You know what I mean? And then pick 249, which I think is Mr. Irrelevant in this draft. Correct me if I'm wrong here. It is not. 249. Ooh, Malik Cunningham. Talk about backup quarterback. I think we're going to do it. Jalen Hurts, obviously Jalen Hurts is the franchise guy. But when you saw Gardner Minshew come in, he couldn't really do some of the things that Jalen Hurts could do. Malik Cunningham can do that. Now, do I think Malik Cunningham is going to be a starter at the next level? I do not. But in a pinch, when you need a win, if Jalen Hurts goes down, I think Malik Cunningham would kind of be the perfect backup for Jalen Hurts. I think that pick makes a lot of sense at 249, where you're going to get a player who's going to make your roster and kind of give you some value here, which again is kind of rare when you're talking about round 7 picks. See how PFF grades this out here. Devon Witherspoon and Nolan Smith. I think those are really two really good first-round picks for the Philadelphia Eagles, and those are the 2 most important picks in the draft. And then Zach Charbonnet, if I were to redo this draft, I think I would have gone interior defensive line at pick 62 and then kind of maybe address that running back with a guy like Eric Gray at pick 220 or at pick 94 here. I believe Eric Gray was available at pick 220 as well. Both those guys are really good, but again, the most important picks in this draft are 10 and 30 because those are the guys that are probably going to be starting right away. Witherspoon, you have no doubt he's going to be a solid starter first year. And then Nolan Smith, I don't know if he'll start for the Philadelphia Eagles, but he will play meaningful snaps. And again, he's a guy that you want inside your locker room. Zach Charbonnet, probably the starting running back with Kenny Gainwell kind of being the spell. I love Zach Charbonnet in the schema. He's a one-cut back that runs the ball extremely hard, a little bit bigger of a body than a dude like Miles Sanders. And then Michael Wilson, giving you a little bit more flexibility with Devontae Smith. And then DJ Dale eating your vegetables a little bit with 220. And then go get your backup quarterback with Malik Cunningham in round 7. I think this draft came together pretty well. Again, only 6 picks for the Philadelphia Eagles, but 2 in the top 30 and 1 in the top 10. So again, appreciate you guys checking us out. If you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate all the support you guys have shown, and we'll talk to y'all later.